I know she went to my house. She goes, I know she took some of my stuff. She goes, but it's not like shopping at Home Goods. She says to me that you're cluttering up your house. She goes, you're trying to put shit where it don't belong just because it's your mother's.
That sounds just like her too.
Well, first of all, I got a couple souls that are stepping forward, okay? And right away, I keep seeing somebody trying to be revived here in this world.
Maybe my mother, she died in her sleep.
Your mom is here right here and right now because there's a lot that she has to say. And first of all, she tells me that you keep questioning how she had died and what had happened. She showed me that she literally was just at the doctor's. She shows me that she had just been seen or she just went for a physical. And the next thing she died and you're like, what the hell happened? How did this happen? Everything was supposed to be fine. Your mom showed me a doctor's visit. And when your mom's showing me that she just went for like a general screening, she's showing me like everything was fine. She shows me that she had a little bit of problems with her blood pressure. She's showing me because she showed me her blood pressure slightly elevated, but that was it. Because she keeps saying to me, Matt, I feel so bad for my daughter. My daughter's in grief every single day. She goes, and she can't stop thinking about how I had died. Because your mom just showed me a phone call. She showed me visions of a phone call. And literally she tells me that you talked to her just the night before.
Yes, I did. We were texting and we were making plans. I was supposed to go see her.
She showed me the vision of a phone and messages back and forth. So when I see that, okay, that's your mom's way of telling me that that's the reason why you're having such a hard time, is that you were making plans to see your mom. You had it set in stone and you feel like God had taken her away from you before you even got to say a final goodbye or before you even got to reconnect and to
absolutely right.
See her. Your mom keeps saying to me, it's not her fault, Matt. It's not her fault. I didn't know. I didn't even know that I was sick, she says to me. Normally when I connect with spirits, they tell me how they had died, right? They'll show me what had happened or what had taken place. With your mom, it was different. The only thing I was getting, she says, was headaches. She goes, I started to get some headaches, she says to me, but we thought it was because of my blood pressure, she's saying. She says, but other than that, she goes, I was fine. She goes, I lived my life every day. She goes, I walked, I went out, I did all these things.
She did walk a lot.
She's telling me. She goes, I was totally unprepared to leave this world. All I remember, she says, is going to bed. She says, and then waking up in heaven. That's what she tells me. She says to me, Matt, she goes, I have to come through with my daughter because she's taking my death so hard. She says to me that the hardest thing is that she shows me the moment, because I love someone to look back and they'll see things. And your mom shows me that the minute that you found about her passing, you literally collapsed, because she showed me like you collapsing and like you couldn't even hold yourself up. And she says, Matt, I wish that my daughter could have heard my voice right then and there. I wish that I could have came through and just told her, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. She says, because since my passing, my daughter has questioned everything. And she shows me that literally you went to her house or you went to where she lived after her passing. And your mom shows me you sitting on the bed and talking to her. And I see you going and like going through all her things and just crying in her clothes.
Yeah.
And she says to me, Matt, this is the hardest thing that a parent could ever see. She says, is their child hurting so bad? She says, I want to tell my daughter one thing. Before I left this world, she says, I knew how much she loved me. She says, we may not have gotten to see each other all the time or spend every moment with one another. She says, but we talked every single week. She says, and more importantly, she says, I felt so connected to her. She goes, and I didn't feel like we had to spend a lot of time with one another. She goes, because I didn't think I was going to die. She goes, why would you spend time with somebody? Why would you spend every moment with somebody when you still feel like you have 10, 12, 20 years left, she tells me.
Exactly.
So know that your mom said to me, listen, God had another plan. Because I asked her, I says, well, can you explain, something to me? Can you let me know anything about your passing? She goes, all I can tell you is this, Matt. Please tell my daughter that even if I survived this here in this world, she says, I would not have been able to walk, talk, or speak after my passing. That's what she's telling me. Because she shows me that there was oxygen lost to her head when I'm speaking to her. So the one thing is that I'm glad that my daughter didn't have to see me or didn't have to see, the way that I passed, she's telling me. Okay. That's what she's acknowledging. Because you wouldn't have been able to handle it. Your mom tells me that you've been putting her things around your house, she tells me.
I have. Yes, I have.
And she goes, Matt, she goes, can you tell her that I know she went to my house? She goes, I know she took some of my stuff. She goes, but it's not like shopping at Home Goods, she tells me. And she's like, she says to me that you're cluttering up your house. She goes, you're trying to put shit where it don't belong just because it's your mother's.
That sounds just like her too.
And she's like, yeah.
She says, less is more, less is more.
Listen, your loved ones don't change. And your mother's going like this to me. She's like, looking around your house. She's like, Matt, she goes, she's trying to make shit fit. She goes, the house is starting to look hokey, she's saying to me. She goes, I appreciate her. She goes, I'm glad that she kept my thing. She goes, me and my daughter had 2 different designs, she's telling me. She's like, her house is nothing like mine. She goes, and it just looks out of place, she says to me.
It does.
Your mom tells me that you're doing all of those things for one reason, because you want to feel close to her.
Yes.
But your mom says to me that she goes, I don't want you to have to go and decorate your house just to feel close to me, because I'm already you. She does show you having jewelry of hers. And she says to me, Matt, she goes, I want her and her daughters to be able to hold up to my jewelry, to wear my jewelry. And she says to me that there were some broken pieces of jewelry that were left for you as well.
There is. Yeah. I found some broken necklaces and things like that. Yep.
She says to me, she goes, Matt, can you tell her that I kept those for a reason? She goes, I was planning on remaking those jewelry. She was supposed to be making them into different pieces. Your mom tells me that I believe that broken necklace that you have was passed down from her mother. I know it was passed down. She goes, I always kept this. She goes, I wanted to remake some of the jewelry. She says, so please take that. She says, and remake it your own. She goes, because at the end of the day, Matt, I knew one thing. And this is the only reason that she goes, I was able to leave this world. She goes, and not have any unfinished business on my end. She says, it's because I knew that my daughter was independent. She says, my whole life, she says, I watched my daughter go through extreme trouble, she tells me. And a lot of that had to do with relationships that she's bringing up. So was there a divorce or a separation?
Over 20 years ago, I had a really horrible relationship.
Your mom tells me about the fact that she watched you be lied to, cheated on, and more importantly, she tells me that this person took everything from you, took your money, took money away from you. And she tells me this person left you with nothing.
Yep.
She goes, I wanted to help my daughter in the worst way, but my daughter said, Mom, I have to do this myself. And she shows me that you went to work and you did everything to rebuild your life. She says, and you know, Matt, she goes, that was the hardest thing I had to see as a mother, but it was also the best thing, because I knew that I didn't have to worry about her. I knew that my daughter could take care of herself. And what the hell is with education as well? Did you also put yourself through school?
I did go back to college for a little while.
Your mom is bringing that up as well.
I became a truck driver, but
listen, I don't care what you did. It's not about that. It's about living your life on your own terms. And more importantly, about what you did for yourself and what your mom saw. She goes, I was a little different. She goes, I felt like she needed a man in her life. She goes, that's what I felt. She goes, I wanted her to be married. I wanted her to be in a happy marriage. I wanted her to have a man and for someone to take care of her. My daughter, it's like she became a man, she tells me. She says, because she literally did her job as a mom and her job as a dad.
Yeah.
She said, I didn't have to worry about a thing. Your mom saw all of this. And for that, she says, I went to the other side and I didn't have to worry. The reason why I'm coming through right now is because the unfinished business isn't on my end. She says it's with you.
Okay.
So listen, I'm going to tell you something. You said before you came here this afternoon, before you signed up, you're like, if I just hear from my mom, if I just know my mom is okay, then I can live my life again.
That's what I told her too.
I know you did. They tell me. She says to me, Matt, you better tell her that she better make good on that promise. I need her to start living her life again. There's only one thing that I had that was unfinished business, and that was losing her brother here in this world, she's telling me. So she says to me, when she got to the other side and she saw him and she saw her mom, she says, to me, that was the best thing that ever happened. She just said, I realized that heaven was real.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to leave you with that. I really hope that this helped you. And thank you guys for being here today.